formalities I like to cover right up front. So welcome everybody. By the way, let us know that you hear us all right, that you see me all right, where you may be joining us from. I'm always curious. I really am. I'm always curious. Today, I'm actually broadcasting from, I'm in Paradise Valley, Arizona. So it's a cool and balmy day. Look, it's only 86 today down here. I've been spending a lot of time up in the mountains here in Arizona as well, in Flagstaff, and kind of going back and forth. Headed back to the Virgin Islands, but a little bit until after hurricane season. After. Anyway, with that, fantastic. Everybody hears me all right, sees me all right. Clearing clearing out. As I said a moment ago, I've been spending a lot of time up in the mountains. It is dry and it has been cold up there. I woke up on Monday. It's 43 degrees. And on Monday, I woke up, it's 43 degrees. I'm like walking outside. It's absolutely beautiful. And that day I actually drove back down to Phoenix and it was 103 when I got down here. 60-degree temperature swing. So welcome again. The informalities. First of all, this is live. Everybody always asks that question. Okay, we're live. Like how live? Okay, live enough that I'm actually watching markets here kind of in real time. By the way, I was watching Meta because Meta was they were doing a product demonstration, totally screwed up. Nobody sold the stock. No one sold anything. But yes, this presentation, it is live. The next thing, can you ask questions? Of course, you can ask questions. I'm reading the chat in real time. Nice. Laguna Beach, California. All right. I hope if you live in Laguna that you do go to the beach. You don't have to surf. Just tell me you go to the beach. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it for me. Like, why live there if you're not going to go to the beach? You just look at it. I know. You just look at it. With that, let's go ahead. Let's get started today. Cool. So there's a lot of people here actually from Phoenix too. So everybody packed up from California, moved to Phoenix because they didn't go to the beach. With that, again, welcome everybody. My name is Don Kaufman. This is Dark Wire. A risk disclosure. We are not financial advisors nor a broker dealer. I spent a long time in the brokerage world and I always throw the risk disclosure up there. I am thrilled to be out of the brokerage side of the business. I ain't got to talk to the SEC and FINRA no more. This is mine. This is not yours. Look, if you ever need to get a hold of myself or Blake Young after today, come right here. Support@theotrade.com. Again, support@theotrade.com. Just put my name, okay, in the subject. It goes right to me. We use a common inbox, but it literally like we'll read the email and say, okay, this goes to Don, this goes, to Blake, this goes, to Todd. We've got you. And we're more than happy to answer your emails. I always put that up there. A few housekeeping items right up front. Housekeeping? Shut the door. Okay. See, door. Turn off Skype. Skype hasn't even been around in like a year. Whatever might be distracting you, you might want to shut down. Today's presentation is deep. This is a very significant slide deck that we have taken ample time to put together. Phones on silent mode. Definitely kick out the kids. The dog can stay. Focus. Focus. You're going to need to focus. We're going to go through a lot. All right. I'm going to give you literally, okay, the 2-minute tour. A lot of people maybe don't know myself. Again, my name is Don Kaufman. I am a co-founder here of TheoTrade. Now, we kicked off and we built TheoTrade, okay, and launched TheoTrade in 2016. It's wild to actually think. This is it, people. This thing is going to have its 10th anniversary. It's 10. It's almost a teenager. Anyway, here at TheoTrade, where did we come from? Where did I actually come from? Everybody, and I always say this about myself because I don't have like I don't have a great story like how I started trading. I don't. Okay. Like somebody's like, I was a taxi cab driver and then I was a trader. Remember that like years ago? I was this and then I was a trader. I grew up in and around traders. Okay. I had no intention of going into finance. Okay. Honestly, I took one class, okay, in business. I took one business class and it was an accounting class in my freshman year of college. I sat there, I went to the lecture, I went to the next lecture and thought to myself, I ain't never going back to the business school ever again. I did my degree in molecular genetics. You want fries with that? 3 weeks out of college. Okay. I had family that traded in Chicago. Okay. And I went on a whim to just clerk for that summer. It's summer of 98. It was back in the golden times. Yes, it was summer of 98. I was out of college. I went from dorm room in early May of 98. I went from dorm room eating ramen noodles, my last semester of college. I did live on campus, to 3 weeks later, I was in Chicago. We're going from, Glencoe, staying in the city, driving around like Porsches and stuff. It was completely out of control. And I was just clerking. And about 3 weeks after that, somebody showed up to work late and still intoxicated from the night before. They fired him, and I started trading immediately. That's how I got my start. It's kind of like, if you were a second string in football and somebody gets hurt ahead of you. Well, this somebody didn't get hurt. They showed up, screwed up, and that was it. That's how I got initially trading. About 18 months after I started trading, I was formally introduced to a gentleman by the name of Tom Sosnoff. So I use gentleman the very lightly. If you guys know who Tom Sosnoff is, Tom Sosnoff was the founder of Thinkorswim. He was the founder of Tasty. Tom and I was Tom's work wife for the first 10 years of his, Thinkorswim kind of career. I was an executive at Thinkorswim when we took the company public in 2007. I was there when the company was actually purchased by TD Ameritrade in 2009. I went on to actually run education for both Thinkorswim and TD Ameritrade, and at what time was 7 million clients of TD Ameritrade, and spent again the better part of about 5 years in the TD after my Thinkorswim stint at which time we had the largest order flow in the entire industry, bar none. And running a division, of course, of Thinkorswim and TD Ameritrade, well, here's the bottom line. We studied and got to see everything that you did. People are kind of curious, like what order flow happens to be, okay? It's all of your trades. So there are very few people in this industry and in this world that actually have access and the accessibility to study retail order flow and large data sets. And we had all of it. And what you're going to learn specifically here comes from having watched billions in mistakes, okay, and the knowledge of what works best for retail traders. When we built TheoTrade in 2016, I just went to people that I knew, right? So I went to, Brandon Chapman and Blake Young and Jeff Bierman, okay, and many more, and Todd Sweet, all that came from both that Thinkorswim and TD Ameritrade world. Most of us here at TheoTrade, we haven't been together for 10 years, okay? We've been together like 20, 25 years, okay? I'm like married to like half these guys. I've known most of the people here at TheoTrade, okay, longer than I have known my wife and children. It's pretty wild. Anyway, that's a little bit of background on me. So let's get into what we're going to discuss today, okay? There's a market. It's constantly overlooked, okay? An overnight signal, and it's literally the world's largest market. Most people don't even know what the world's largest market, okay, is. Like literally, there's this constant, signal that's overlooked in here in the world's largest market. Now, it doesn't show up on charts, okay? It's not visible to an indicator because an indicator is looking in the past, right? By the time the market opens, it's gone, okay? The guest today, my guest is going to be Blake Young, okay? It's his code, and he's cracked this code. In the past 30 days trading it, okay, he has compounded a jaw-dropping 44.9% return, okay? By the way, that's not just, live, verifiable, repeatable. That's with clientele here of TheoTrade, okay? Very, very important that I make that distinction right now. By the way, people are like, oh, you only have 30 days. We have way more records than that. But the last 30 days, okay, has been with our clientele here of Theo Trade, literally holding their hands. Now, for the first time, you're actually going to see exactly how it works. What is the dark wire? Think of it as it's like a hidden transmission. When we talk about transmission, I'm not talking about the transmission from a car. Okay. It's a hidden signal, a transmission being sent out. Okay. In the overnight session, institutions see it, hedge funds see it, retail traders. Okay. They don't know it exists. They don't even know the market that trades this exists. Okay. That's what we're actually going to be shedding light on today. Every night, the dark wire transmits. That's why it's like dark wire. It's literally, it is out there. Every morning, traders know about it. Okay. They're ready to react. Every day, okay, you miss it. You're leaving money on the table. Today, okay, is going to be your one chance to see it kind of decoded and decoded live and position yourself before the next round of gains. Okay. Again, problem here. Most traders are glued to what I term like daily news wire. It's PR wire, right? CNBC, Reddit, noise, more noise, chaos. For those of you that know me, okay, I absolutely hate this crap. Tune it all out. Okay, if you ever have CNBC on, I'll lose my mind. If it is on, it better be on with the mute button on. Okay, everything they have is about what's going up, what's going down. Sometimes I've been on CNBC time and again. I got a producer chirping my ear, say you're bullish in Apple. I'm like, I'm bullish. The voice is drives me absolutely insane. Okay. It's what people trust. It's what they know. It's also why they lose. Okay. I put this one together specifically in here because again, block out the noise. This is a huge portion of why people lose. But the dark wire points you to high probability price moves hours before headlines hit, hours before crowd reacts. Okay. Hours before most traders are even going to be awake. Yeah, you may have to get up in the morning. I'm talking about an elite signal, gigantic market, absolutely gigantic market. Okay. And monthly, quick to compound gains that what you're going to see, it literally shames some of the traditional trading strategies. And I like covering this because this, okay, it's a vast differential and a vast departure from what I trade. I never mind coming on here, okay, and talking about somebody that I've worked with for 20 or 25 years, okay, that has got a trade that completely differs from what I cover, right? The dark wire, it doesn't, okay, predict, it detects, and it's 12 hours ahead, giving you, okay, this advantage at the institutional level over 99% of other traders. Okay, better yet, the signal, okay, is set to become more powerful than ever. Fed. The Fed now, they're in motion. As soon as the Fed is actually in motion, okay, the market that we are looking at, okay, starts to really pick up. The frequency, okay, of the transmission is actually picking up. In other words, okay, sleeping on dark wire could be one of the biggest mistakes of your trading life. So stick with us because I'm actually going to start detailing, again, the full story into this kind of breakthrough in here. Now, by the end of the presentation, I want you to be able to walk away, okay? First of all, with the knowledge of why chasing 50 charts and setups is killing people. I mean, most people right now, when they're chasing setups, they just get lucky, like, it went up, okay? Everything goes up, it all goes up, okay? You're going to replace all those 50 charts and the setups with one precision decision, okay, each morning. How to take advantage of the signal in minutes, okay? This is going to be look, execute, not hours, okay? This is a lot less time in front of screens. It's going to give you a roadmap, okay, to fast compounding returns that could change how you trade. Look, so how did our guest, Blake Young, discover the dark wire? They got tired of the noise, the constant guessing. By the way, Blake's not a guy that likes to look at 27 tab watch list, right? Okay. The economic data also is completely insane. So he actually focused on simplifying things, not 50 tickers, not 12, markets, okay, smooth, precise, repeatable, and able to actually hit the ambitious goal. And by the way, when he first brought this to me, I'm like, you're out of your mind. And I actually sourced a lot of the data with him. Okay. He wanted a market that could realistically deliver 10% per month. At 10% per month, okay, it's reasonable. I think it's reasonable. You start to think about compounding that. It's wild though. This is not a meme stock. It's not a lotto play. It's not some high beta roller coaster stock. It's just not. Okay. It's something real. It's stable. Okay. The product I'm about to show you is real. It's stable. It's scalable, and any size can actually fit into it. So the search began: future stocks, options, crypto. Um, Battle tested. Everything is battle tested. Look, we trade all the markets out there. Okay. And he's got criteria for it, really specific criteria. Okay. The market to qualify had to trade 24 hours. You realize, okay, with Blake, something that had to trade basically 24 hours, that eliminates, 9 out of 10 products. Tight spreads and big liquidity, critical. If you don't have tight bid offer spreads, you're done. Okay. Be free from AI distortion, okay, which is huge right now, and benefit, okay, from the Fed. Federal Reserve moves actually going to be a benefit. Okay. And you literally chip away from there. This product's too volatile. This is illiquid. This is manipulated. It's tied to headlines. Okay, until one market, okay, kind of met that stringent standard, month after month, trade after trade. Okay, consistency is everything. It behaved, okay, like it was built for traders. Okay, it's the 10% month per month marketplace. It's real. It's liquid. It's overlooked. Okay, hiding in plain sight. Okay, it's not a stock. It's not a sector. It's not even one of the most, it's not on most of your trading radars. Okay. But our mystery guest loves it. Okay. Let's put that into stark perspective. Most investors chase 7% per year in index funds. This is 10% per month. Okay. From one signal. 10% per month from one signal. 7% a year versus 10% per month. If you invest $10,000, it's 7% per year. Okay. You'll have about $19,671 after 10 years. Now, that's compounded. This is compounded, okay, at 10% per month, not assuming any drawdowns, okay, you'd have $313,842 at the end of that year. Again, it's compounded returns. We're just showing you the stark differential, okay, between these. That's just from mastering the one signal, okay. Outsized results are possible because the market is arguably the most liquid market in the world. There's no day trading rules. There's no day trading rules. There's no high capital requirements. It's a few $100. Okay. You don't even have to have $2,000 in your account to do this. Okay. So what's the incredible market that changed everything? It's the /E futures. Okay. It's the Euro FX futures. And a lot of people are not familiar with this. He's even going to talk about a smaller version of this product. Okay. The mini, the micro. This is, okay, the beast. It is the beast, a liquid marketplace, okay, arguably the most liquid marketplace in the entire world. And I love that we're talking about FX futures and not just trading pure FX, because the futures market, okay, at least you've got protection of a major exchange and clearing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Blake Young. Blake, we have like a nice bio for you here, okay? But I'm going to I've known Blake for like way too long. Like we met, it's over like 20 years now, man. It's over 20 years, which makes both of us freaking old. Okay. He's been trading for over 25 years. In fact, you've been trading now over 30 years. Because you're old now and we haven't updated that bio in there.
Yeah, got to do that.
He's been a principal for Commodity Trading Advisor, which is CTA, hedge fund, so forth. I'll just tell you right now, okay, for those of you that don't know this, Blake worked going way back, like early Thinkorswim days, okay, in running a significant amount of Thinkorswim's currency product and currency futures. In fact, Blake was actually the reason, okay, that Thinkorswim added currency futures and currency in general to Thinkorswim. So to say that he was like instrumental in the development of both Thinkorswim, instrumental obviously in TD Ameritrade acquisition would be like an understatement over here. But it's 2 decades. We're basically working together. Blake was one of the first calls we made when we actually built TheoTrade. Okay, all of us are thrilled to be away from the brokerage world. I am going to introduce none other than Blake Young. Blake, have at it. Show me the way.
All right, we're going to show you. We're going to show you the dark wires, and really it's going to go through, and I'm going to show you step by step. And what I love about this is everything starts as a theory, right? You got to start out with a theory, but this isn't theory anymore. We start out with an idea, a concept, and we test it. Like you said, we battle test it. We walk through step by step. We create a process that can be repeated. Because sometimes we're just lucky in getting a trade on. Sometimes we're lucky in seeing a move and we're part of that. But this is a step by step daily process. And again, what we've done is we found this, and I've built this to the point where literally 12 hours before the moves even start, before we even trade our base trading window, where we start all of our trades, every night I go to the euro, I pull up the chart, I look at the chart, and I set up what I call the beacons. And these beacons shine through that light, shine through that darkness into the morning. And I'm going to show you exactly what they look like and explain why these are so powerful and yet overlooked. Okay, we're going to go through kind of step by step here. Now, I call it my trade alarm system. It's a generous 12-hour warning ahead of time. We get 12 hours or more ahead of time. And when it triggers, I know exactly where to focus the next morning. Unlike everybody else, I'm not caught up in the chaos of not knowing what to trade, when to trade it, how to set up my trades. No, ahead of time. And so better yet, I only really trade about 2 hours a day from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. This is your sweet spot. And that's when the pressure hits. And I'm already ready for it because unlike other trades, other traders, I had a full relaxing 12 hours of notice. I'm not scrambling. I get there and I'm ready. And what I'm actually looking for is I'm tracking the beacons, and the beacons are a signal from my proprietary TheoTrade indicator that I've built over years. And that indicator is provided this distributive range. I know that's a lot to say, a distributive range that forecasts future price action. And I love saying this because everybody that's been with me, I love to say math is magical. And really, we're using a distributive range to forecast the future price action ahead of time, 12 hours or more. Without these tools, you're kind of flying blind. This isn't something you can just eyeball. It takes precision. And that's what my system gives me every single night. I can ignore the confusing daylight news wire because the dark wire gives me that kind of clarity and consistent opportunity every trader dreams of every single time. All right, enough talk. Let me show you exactly how this works and why I call it the 10% per month market. This is an example, as you can see from this last week of trading. This is literally 2 days ago on Tuesday. And this was the beacon setup, again, 12 hours ahead. So we're looking all the way back here. From this point right here, I'm already looking forward to the next day. And I'm creating my beacons. So as I'm looking at this way back here, 12, 14 hours ahead of time is setting up that trade. And so when we see that, and we see those setups, we see those structures, what we're doing is we're well aware of what we're looking for hours and hours in advance. So again, 12-hour beacon, 12 hours before their trading window. And what happened? Well, after the day started, we got into our trade window, we got a signal, and there's $212 profit in 40 minutes. That's just on one contract. We're not trading multiple contracts here, just one contract, $212 in 40 minutes. And as you can see, there's the actual buy order and the limit order to get out of that trade. But this has done this month over month over month. So I've got a number of trades that I'm going to walk you through and show you what they look like ahead of time. Okay, so this is going back into May, and this is going all the way back to that beginning May time. And we have May, and we have, okay, what do we have? We have a buy signal, a beacon setup, and we're waiting for the trade to give us the timing now. So 12 hours ahead, we have the trade, we're waiting for it. We wait until we get there, and what do we get? We get a breakout and a breakdown, $125 profit in just 10 minutes. From the time the signal happened to the target being reached, it was just 10 minutes. And look what happened. Pulled back, got our target, and the same day, this is the same beacons. So we had the first trade as a winner, and then it reversed and gave us another one. All on the same beacon. So what do? We take that one. One was short or going bearish, selling first. Next one was buying, going bullish, going long, and hitting that one. And we get that one. Oh, but wait, there's more. This is all still the same trade day and the same beacon as we're setting this up. And we hit the next target. Over and over and over again, this thing plays out.
So I was just going to
$181
ask
profit.
you, I was just going to ask you that very
Yeah.
question. This is the exact same trading day. So the signal on the one day, the beacon from one day is
Uh-huh.
actually repeatable. It's not one and done. It's you can
Correct.
actually have a multiple of trades from it.
Absolutely. And we
Okay.
wait for it to get into that. And I jokingly say we wait till we're in the light and then we target where we're going. And that's it. We can go short when it gives us a short signal. We can go long when it gives us a long signal. And we just take the trade and hit the target. It's all we're trying to do every single time. And the interesting thing is when all these things are going on, we see these big moves and these big reversals and we hit these targets. There's that next one, $125 in 15 minutes. All three of these are on the same day. Now, as we're looking at all those moves, we could go back in time and see what economic data was going on. We can see that we made $125 in those trades. All three of those, again, were in the same trade. Same day, same setup, same beam, same structure, same beacons, and we hit those targets, $431 in that 2-hour trading window.
Is
And
that
again,
pre-market? Are we predominantly pre-market, like a trading window, or do
no, we're
you?
actually
Yeah.
not. We wait till regular trading hours,
Okay.
and we're live in the 10% club. We launch at regular trading hours of market open, and we say 2 hours because some of the things that we're looking at, we want to avoid that first minute, but it's the 2.5 hours up till 12 noon. So we start looking at the charts and start analyzing it. But yeah, this is absolutely uh, after the market opens, but we knew at 6 p.m. the previous day. And so we wait, the market opens, we take our time, we set up our trades, we wait for the signal and take the trade. $431 in 2 hours. But yeah, that's the window. And again, we could go back in time and look and say, what was going on? We could talk about Microsoft. We could talk about all the things that we were seeing going on in the results and the earnings and everything that doesn't matter. So as an example, on this chart, this is the next Monday. As we're looking at this, 6 p.m. Eastern, we knew where our levels were. We wait until the morning. We wait till the setup. Now, on this day, with all the chaos and everything that was going on, as we set this up, this day, by the way, was when the talks with China over trade was struggling. The falling VIX on the 5th saw second day down in equities with no clear path forward on any trade deals, and we had the Fed policy meeting coming up. And does it matter? No, because we set up the beacons, we wait till the market opens, and we're sitting there setting our trades up, and we get our trade signal. We hit $137.50 profit in 25 minutes. We do not care whether it's up. We do not care whether it's down. We don't care whether the Fed meetings is coming up. We don't care whether or not they're struggling with the tariffs. We trade the trade. We hit the target. We play the play every time, following the same rules over and over and over and over again. I just commented about the May Fed meeting. Well, we just had it happen yesterday. And if you go back and look at our private trading room yesterday, or even went to the later on throughout the day, watch those levels. We hit it, we hit it, we hit it, we hit it, we hit it. So I do isolate to that 2 hours. That's my comments and my goals and my targets and what I share. But there are lots more trades throughout the days. These beacons are solid and they work on and on and on every day, day in and day out, week over week, month over month, and now year over year, because I built this last year at this time. And so we built this and we continued to build it and test it, and we released it, and here we are. So give you another one. This is at 5.5. We see the trade set up. We go down. We already hit that target, and now we have another buy signal, and it goes up, and we hit $156 profit in 45 minutes. All on the same chaos day of tariffs and tariff wars and the Fed over and over and over again. This one ends up being, oops, get there, 3 different trades again, $262 on that day. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what's going on. The fundamentals can be there. We can see things coming ahead of time, but the market loves math. And so as we're looking at this, we see these things, these beacons are telling us again, because the math doesn't change. We're looking at the math from the previous day and we're projecting again 12 hours ahead, over and over and over again. As we're looking at this, what do we got? 5.6. Now, this day, this is the Fed rate change day. So we already knew we had a Fed weaken in the tariff. This is on the Fed rate change day. So as we're looking at this, who knows what chaos could ensue? As we're going into this one, what do we get? Same beacon setup. We wait, we hit the trade. Now you can see it broke out, it pulled back and went up and hit our target, $237.50, profit in 45 minutes.
So can I
Every,
intervene right there? I'm going
yeah,
to intervene right there. So you got this the $237 profit over there,
yeah,
and there's a lot of people that are actually involved that have never traded maybe a futures market. There's a lot of people involved that have definitely not traded, the Euro FX futures marketplace. Which between us, the only reason I ever traded that product is because we added it years and years ago at Thinkorswim because of you. And I traded the contract just because I never traded the contract. But when you initially go in, like what's the requirement initially, like the margin requirement initially at most brokerage firms? And I know that certain brokerage firms, are unique in different requirements. What
yeah.
typically is that requirement?
So typically, this is what I love about this market as well, is because we're looking at these dollar amounts, and it is because of the leverage that this works so well. But what it is it's 50 to 1 leverage. They require 2% of the contract's value. And that's generally across the board. Now, some, like Don commented, some futures dealers or futures brokers will let you trade even smaller margin where you can get down to $500, 250 on intraday margin. But that's what's great is we are using intraday margin. It's because we're trading during the regular trading hours. And so it is generally speaking, it's 2%. You're getting 50 to 1 leverage of the underlying. And so when the euro is trading at 113, that's $1.13 US dollars to buy a euro, then we're talking about 113,000 times, well, 125,000 of that. So 125,000 euros. And we're talking about 300 to $500 on the high side. So
So you take this $100,000 product and he just distills it down to like it's $300.
yeah,
And by the way, there's a smaller version which we'll discuss here in a moment. So again, like capital requirement, that's the reason I really wanted to ask it because capital requirement is so ridiculously negligible
yeah,
that it's not even up for debate. And by the way, you don't
yeah,
have to have a certain amount in your account. You can have $1,000, $500. They don't care.
yeah,
There's no restriction to what you can have in your account in this particular marketplace. It's not like the SEC and FINRA where you're like you have to have $25,000 in your account and you have to give blood. Like they don't do any of that crap. It's pure, okay, in that particular respect.
yeah.
Proceed.
Thank you. Well, and like you said, we can trade these down to 1/10 the size. We'll get to that a little bit later, though, because there's reasons to do that when it comes down to risk management. All right, so that one's $237.50. Let me give you another one. This is 5/7. So you just see we're just going day by day by day. These are back to back to back days, and you're seeing the targets hit in the setup. So again, when did we see this? Right here. That's when it started. That's when we had the numbers. Now, all these candles here didn't exist when we saw the levels. I already had the levels. I already had the targets. I already had my yellow lines, my yellow blocks, and that was right here. And so we had it 12 plus hours ahead of time. We get to see the candles where they went, but those were there 12 hours ahead of time. So 6 p.m. Eastern, 12 hours later, what do we get? Breakout, short signal, $206.25 profit. And you can see that one took a little bit longer. We almost took a whole 2 hours to hit $206 in profit. As we look at the next one, this is the same setup. Next breakdown, $237.50. Notice some are buying and going long. Some are going short and selling back to the next target over and over and over again. This is the same day, same beacons on the same one. We traded that one, hit that target, and then we waited. We didn't even participate in here, which is fine because the rules didn't tell us to. We participated here and we got another $237.50 in about 30 minutes. And every day these are setting up. Every day we have the risk reward probabilities set up the same way over and over and over and over again. Now, if we go forward, we have to go over the weekend. So here we are on 5/13. And what do we get? We get the beacons. We have the setups. We wait. Now, this day, this is kind of a fun one. This day, when we're setting up the trade, this is when the NVIDIA price surged on the Saudi deal. If you remember back in May, all the talk about NVIDIA getting their Saudi deal, and we had softer inflation data on CPI. We had the tariff relief and the rally into the 14th. And then we also had taco. We had the beginning of the taco that we're always going to back away from these tariff fights. So all this is going on, which should have been market goes up, panic, no, goes down, all the volatility. Nope, we don't care. We already have it. We already set up 12 hours ahead of time. And we wait and we wait and wait. Now, this one set us up here, told us to go short there. It could have been a much bigger trade, but it still played out great at $253 a profit. Every one of these sets up, gives us our trade, gives us our entry over and over and over again. Same day, same setup. We broke through to the next level and $125 profit. 515. This was the fourth positive day in equities in a row. PPI slides lower, showing us that we have slowing inflation in the business side of things, or the producer side. As we continue to see that slowing inflation, CPI followed by PPI, we have China-US trade temporary tariff slash agreement. So they both agree we're going to temporarily slash our tariffs right before we went into the whole thing that we put them back on. And the VIX slides 4% in a single day. And as we're looking at this, that could cause a lot of massive moves. Well, we saw the breakout. We saw it hit our target. We have $118, and I rounded that off because it was really $118.75 in that move. And what do? We set up for the next one. This is all we do over and over and over again.
By the way, you want to go back to that one for a second?
Yeah.
Was that a sell, then a buy?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to just clarify for a second, because everybody's going to ask that question over here. Is it only on the long side? Are you kidding?
No.
This is Theo Trade. We love being on the short side. When
Yes,
you're talking about a breakout, when you're talking about a breakout, he's actually looking at a breakdown. But most people they don't usually pick up on that one, right? But me, I like to take both sides of the marketplace. But I can't stress to you enough. There's long setups and there are short setups. In this particular case, he has set up a short. He is selling to open and he is buying, which is covering to close in this particular marketplace. And there's no rules, by the way, in the futures marketplace about being long, being short. You can do whatever you want. There's no uptick rules. You can short all you want. There's no hard to borrow. It is pure raw capitalism, and that is what we like.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're actually about 50-50 so far in all these examples. We have buy signals, we have sell signals. We have buy signals, we have sell signals. And that's not the case. You can't, if you could alternate it, that'd be amazing, but that's not the case. So we've actually had two sell signals here, and one of them we had to wait for. We already hit the target, and then we had to wait and wait and wait, and then we break out and we hit another target. And so, yep, we sell first, we buy second. It was about 32 minutes on that one. Now, this one you can see back to the bullish. So as we're looking at this one, we're looking for the bullish breakout. This is on 827. We have that set up way back here. And even though it's way back here, we're going to use these beacons and we wait until the morning. We're going to have that breakout. We have the setup and we hit $131 in under 2 hours. Now, there's some subtleties in here. There's some adjustments. We will get into that later, but there's opportunities to add and build these things. But these are just the straight top level. You buy, you hit your target, you're done. You buy, you hit your target, you're done. You sell, you hit your target, you're done. And so hitting $131 in 25 minutes there as well. Now, as we get in here, we need to go over here. There we go. There's the $256 in 25 minutes. Now, let's get real. 100% of all trades are successful, right? Let's be very, very honest. Are all trades this good? I mean, I am showing you some amazing quick moves. Did we have losses? Absolutely, we had a few losses in there. For sure. That's going to happen. We're going to have a loss here. We're going to have a loss there. But what I love about this is that statistically, the reward risk is larger for the reward than the risk, and yet we're still profitable more frequently than we lose. Now, think about that for just a minute. If you understand reward, risk, and probabilities, if you are in those trades and you're setting up the opportunities, you know that what you're looking for, if you're right 1-to-1, you need to be right more than 50% of the time. If you're targeting 2-to-1, you have to be right about 33% of the time for break even. If you're targeting 1 to 2, looking to make 50%, you have to be right 66% of the time. What these results, and we're talking months and months and months of documented results, and now what we're sharing, this returns from September, are live where we are trading and you're trading with me and we're seeing that step by step. And those results, we're showing that we're right more than we're wrong, and we're right 50%, 100% or more when we do win versus what we lose. And so all these trades were set up the day before. It doesn't mean we're not going to have a loss here and there, but when we have those types of rewards over and over and over again versus the losses, and we have the probability so high, and we knew where these were the night before, we knew the levels we're going to look for. We just had to wait till the morning. And as we wait till the morning when there's the most liquidity of this market, because both Europe is open and the US is open, we're ready. And we don't need news. We just need beacons. Now, we'll still pay attention to the news because we get some extra volatility. You want to make sure you're protecting. But this system doesn't react to the news. It precedes it. It predicts it. It tells us where the key levels are even after a news event, where we should be paying attention to. And volatility doesn't hurt this system. It actually sharpens it. But it even gets better. This system is perfect for new traders. And again, like Don was talking about before, you don't need to jump into full-size contracts. If we're talking about the 6E that you might have to put up $500 of margin, we can do the M6E, the micro, and you're going to put up $50 of margin on some of these futures contracts. And that $50 of margin will let you control that trade. And instead of going for $265 on a win, you might go for $26 on a win. But then again, you might only be risking $10 to do it. And so you can scale into this on any size you need. And it's the exact same signal. Whether you're trading the smaller size, doesn't matter. Same signal, same time windows, same setup, same chart. You start with the micros, you build your confidence, and you have a lower risk, lower trade size until you are ready to go, okay, now I can trade it to my risk tolerance. Now I can trade it with the full contract. But in the meantime, you get to trade and make money while you're learning and hit these targets and hit these windows. Start with the micros, build your confidence, and then step in. Step into the
Yeah,
full contracts.
I just wanted to add something to the micro portion of it,
Yeah.
and that is unequivocally the greatest product. People like will literally come in, they go, yeah, but I can't make money because after commissions and micros, I'm like, it's not what it's about. Like you've never in this business been able to trade and trade live, okay, in real execution to learn the business, okay, and not have critical amounts of capital and your entire like, neck on the line. You've
Yeah.
never been able to do this before this. And people like, they don't get it. If you're going to go out and you're going to play 18 holes against Tiger Woods, okay, even at his age right now, it's absolutely going to kill you. Here, you can go to the driving range and spend all the freaking time you want for like next to nothing. And they just people don't get it. I would rather read a book about golf and then go out on the driving range and you still absolutely suck. It is a real world marketplace. Like
Yeah.
you can't paper trade and learn a damn thing. Okay. I helped build, the paper trading system of Thinkorswim. You don't learn anything except technology at that point. Okay. Execution is where you learn
Yeah.
execution and you have to trade. So I put all the eggs into that basket. I begged the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME group, to add, minis and micros to every product they possibly could because retail, they need this. People are so worried about the capital. Forget about it. Somebody's asking about the brokerage firm. Screw all of that. Who cares what broker you're at? Pay the fees. It's like an accountant. I got to find a good accountant. You haven't even made any money yet. Make the money. I'll give you the best accountant out there. Make the
Mhm.
money, give it the best broker out there. Don't worry about any of that. Do not ever put the cart before the horse. You got to learn to make money and execute first. And that is what Blake is actually covering here.
Yeah, and I loved, speaking of reading a book, that you don't gain any knowledge there. How about the gaining of the knowledge that paper money doesn't work? If you've ever read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, I love that segment. And they talk about people slam down a pile of papers on their desk and say, look how good of a trader I am. And in the book, he says, yeah, that's all well and good, but it's like a marksman that says he can shoot the stem off of a wine glass from 300 paces.
Yep.
Well, how
Yep.
well do you do when the wine glass shoots back? That's what
Yeah.
real money is doing. That's what so we start small. And you learn not only whether you're going to get your fills, you learn how you're going to behave emotionally with, even though they're the small losses, small wins, you know how you're going to behave and you know what was a real execution and whether you were there on time and whether you were adjusted your stop appropriately or anything else that might be there. So I love that part of that book. But yeah, I one of my friends used to call me crazy because anytime I'd build a new system, I would trade with real money. And he said, "That's crazy. You don't know if it works." And I said, "I know the math works." And so I don't learn if it really works until I put money on the line. And so I did the same thing. And he always told me I was crazy to do it. But no, you don't learn until you put the money on the line. So we're always going to say start small, start with the micros. And then when you see the proof is in the data already. But when you see it prove in your own account, you can start scaling those up and trading for bigger wins and bigger dollars and et cetera. That's where the real money starts. And that's where the 10% really comes alive.
Yep.
That's where it comes together. So as we're looking at that, let me prove it at 10% a month. Let's do some math together. Okay. Now, when I said the 10% per month market, again, I went back, I built this last year and I tested it and I proved it. And I wanted to launch actually last October and we had lots of stuff going on. So we delayed and we waited. And so I just kept testing and proving and proving and proving it to myself with real money as we went forward over and over and over again. And so I have months and months and months of data. And then we really started saying, let's isolate this just down to this euro US dollar and let's deal with this every single trade in just that time window. And when we did that, what we found out that is actually better than that, but we're just targeting 10% per month. I personally achieved over 20% a month growth every single month. And last month, like we talked about, in front of our 10% club group of traders, we hit 44.9% in just the trades in that 2-hour time window. And so after we triggered those trades, we're hitting 44.9%. That's on the portfolio balance, not on the last trade. I didn't make 40% on what I risked. I made 44% on the entire balance of the portfolio. Do you understand what we're getting at? And so we've hit 20%, we've hit 28%, we hit 44.9%. And I still call it the 10% per month club because I want to be realistic. There's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be sideways. And our goal is to make that 10% per month. We've outperformed. So, I mean, I apologize. We did 44.9 and not 10. But what does that look like in real money, in real dollars? On a 5,000 account, that's $500 a month at 10%. When we hit our 20%, that's $1,000. On last month, we put in $2,245 profit on a $5,000 account. Then if we leave that at 7,245, we're going to be using that for that 10% for that next time period. But we're dealing with this. And again, it is not theory. It's real compounding growth built on a system I use myself. I trade my live account live in front of you, and you can use it too. I mean, it's that simple. It's super straightforward, easy to use. You can do this too. So, oops, went the wrong way there. So what I've done with the 10% per month isn't a dream. It's the reason I've committed to so fully this market, this Euro market. Now, you've seen some of the trades, you've seen the system, you've seen the proof, and you're at a crossroads. One path leads you back into the darkness, and one leads you into the daylight. So our watch list, there's no watch list. There's no guesswork. There's no uncertainty. They're always reacting to something one step behind. Nope, we're already ahead. Our path gives you every single night what to look for every morning, and you're ready by 10 a.m. You're actually ready before then, but we're going to be looking at trades at 9:30, planning on executing at 10 to 12. And the market unfolds almost like clockwork. So imagine already waking up in the morning knowing what you'll trade while everybody else is still scrambling saying, I don't know what to do. Well, which ones are moving? Where's the volume at? What news just came out? No, we don't care. We're already ready. And just when you think it can't get any better, it turns out this exact same signal we've been testing over and over and over again. I've been testing in a brand new market, a market that has been synonymous with wealth for thousands of years. So what are we talking about? We're talking about gold. It's big and it's liquid as well. It gives us a way to double our exposure to the exact same overnight signals without chasing 50 random charts. And the timing is perfect. Look at what's happened with gold recently. Gold surges through $3,700 an ounce to hit record high, according to Economic Times. So the gold beacons are the same beacons. They're just math on a different instrument. It's the same idea, the same strategy. This was the end of September. We were trading these, or sorry, the end of August, excuse me. We were trading these in that 44% month. We added gold into the mix. And so we set up the charts, again, 12 hours ahead of time. And we were able to hit $174 in an hour. Same thing we're looking at. We're looking at the beacons. We see it trade all the way out of there, $142.30. These are all up, certainly, but it doesn't mean we don't have some short signals in gold as well. It just happens to be, obviously, August was a very bullish month. And so the beacons told us where to enter in on these bullish trades to get that $142 a month there. Every one of these, same signal, different battlefield, but even more opportunity. This isn't about trading, about adding noise. It's about compounding clarity. One elite signal. Now we have two monster markets. These are the big boys. Plus, what just happened? The Fed's rates adjustments are great news for us. What happens when we cut rates? When rates are changing up or down, movement speeds up. Generally speaking, the market looks at a Fed rate cut or Fed hike and says this is the beginning of monetary policy. It's not a one and done usually. It's the beginning of monetary policy shifts. And so we're seeing this and we expect movement to speed up, creating more and more opportunities in our markets, our two markets. That's all we're looking for. The 10% per month market fits around my life. It does. It's real and I'm living it. It's here.
So let me actually show you guys a little bit about the way in, of course, to the 10% a month club. So introducing, and this is specifically Blake's 10% per month club. And this is just a couple of comments from a few of our clientele. This is something that is tangible and tradable. This is something that has been executed now with a fairly significant number of TheoTrade clients, many of which are actually in the room as we speak right now. 625, what a nice day. Thank you, Blake. This one says positive $2,100, 10% per month club member. This actually comes from Shirley Quick. I caught an overnight trade, $925. Shirley is typically with us, kind of live over here. Look, here's everything involved and everything you're actually going to receive with the 10% club. First of all, there's a live masterclass. Now, that live masterclass, so that everybody is aware, okay, is completely redoing the masterclass for this. It will be live Thursday, September 25th, okay, at 2 p.m. Eastern time. There's plenty of time. Obviously, today's the 18th. You're looking a week out, okay? We already have another and new masterclass, okay? It's going, all right, learn the entire system. One of the things that people are asking inside of the room, by the way, we're going to get to every one of your questions because I can see questions pouring in over here. One of the things that we want to get to right up front over here is that this is not going to be like a black box system. This is not like a Blake monkey bar thing. This is not, like a Fibonacci out there. It's completely, okay, different in that respect. Okay. The beacon is just, it's completely different. Conceptually might look like that when we're presenting it on here. Blake's actually going to go into detail though, okay, of what the beacon really is. The set is 12 hours before. Next, we come to a weekly mastermind. The weekly mastermind, okay, this is huge because it's ongoing and continuing education. There's a private trading room. Now, I'm going to detail this a little bit and then I'm going to get deeper into it. The private trading room, okay, Blake's going to trade with you. Like, this is never going to be like, here's some education now, you go to town. We're done with that. This is all going to be hands-on. If you're in it, he's in it. If he's in it, you have a choice to get in it. It's completely up to you. Okay. But there's one thing I'm going to tell you. You can't jump on somebody's coattails. You kind of got to learn the system. And that's why we do the master class. That's why we do the masterminds. Okay. And the reason that there's a private trading room in there is because people get a little gun shy, a little nervous. They're not sure, like how do I set this order up? Do I use a bracket? What's my stop? What's my risk management over here? It's all covered. Okay. We can't leave especially in trading these products in real time, you're not going to leave any stone unturned. Okay. I want to make sure that everybody's comfortable. And that's why I get involved on this in almost every product. Okay. I want hands on because if these guys like Blake can't explain it to me, okay, if I can't trade it, there's no chance you're going to be able to trade it. But Blake's actually explaining here, he was able to explain it to me in like 10 minutes. And I'm like, I got it. I got it. We're good. Okay. Like, love it. Let's actually trade it live for a while. We trade it live for a while together. Then, okay, we actually host an event. It was only a couple of weeks ago. We hosted an event specifically for this. Okay. First round, okay, over and done with. Wildly successful. You ask anybody that's in that room, wildly successful. So here we are. Okay, here we are. We're going to rehost the masterclass. Why do we redo the masterclass? Because it's only getting better. Because Blake actually learned from the first group, okay, the guinea pigs, of what had to be basically done. And it literally comes down to that, where we could actually improve upon the class. There's a monthly coaching call, which actually is just going to sharpen everything. By the way, every single detail of this recorded, including the private room. Okay. And there's actually new. It's the gold accelerator. This is actually going to be beacon signals for gold. Obviously, gold, okay, is tied at the hip, okay, to your currency-based marketplace. And then, of course, the Futures 101 class. I actually put that one together. The total value is $12,082. Okay. You can actually find all of this at theotrade.com/10, literally the number 10. I'm going to cruise over there for you for just a second. And I'll explain exactly how this actually works, because there is a decision to make on this page. Okay. Decision is annual is $2,000, quarterly is $1,000. Okay. When we first actually did this, we didn't really have selection. So a lot of people signed up like quarterly, figured, you know what? A lot of people wanted to do it annually. Here it is. It's $2,000 for the annual. Otherwise, you're basically paying $4,000 for it. Okay. Either of these, and it's important. And again, I'm throwing this up here because I want you to see it right up front. Like I like this stuff like out in the open. Okay. Either of those, they still have a 30-day money back guarantee. And we do that with everything. Okay. We do it with everything. So we always put our neck on the line. Like, look, okay, put, the money where the mouth is over here. And I know they're worried about the brokerage firms and they're worried about margin. They're worried about this. We're going to cover all of it. As I said a moment ago, like, I'm just so adamant about this. Like, you don't go find a good accountant until you've actually made a bunch of money. Okay. We got you covered in the brokerage firms. We'll actually give you which brokerage firms we use, which brokerage firms we're comfortable with. Okay. Margin requirements, all of it. But the key is over here. You got to get in the room. And I know that some people are like, it's $2,000. I only have a $2,000 account. At least you're going to learn something here. Okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the few programs you can overcome that, right? Meaning that you pay $2,000 with a $2,000 account, you can actually build an account rather quickly with what Blake is doing. Okay. Get in, okay, get working with him. That's what this is. And again, it is a private trading room where when I say get in and get working with him, the private trading room, that's Blake's, like, that's his day. He starts his day, the first hour of the day in that room. Okay. Blake, we torture him. He does an hour here, an hour here. Like, I appreciate it. Okay. I appreciate it. Blake doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop. But this is his bread and butter trade right now. Again, there's a 30-day money back guarantee. There's no stipulations, by the way, on a money back guarantee. Okay. There's no excuses. Like, look, if at any point, like whether you $1,000, $2,000, okay, we've been around now for it's 10 years. It's weird, by the way, Blake, for me to say that we've been around for 10 years, but we're around for 10 years. Okay. And I always say this and I always reiterate this. We want people, okay, that want to trade here. And it's our job, okay, to build systems, okay, that are going to be effective for you, retail traders, to come in and to be able to execute like any professional firm would. Okay. We are a think tank as much as we are, okay, trade execution, and we're providing it like education. But over the years, we've blended all of those. Okay. And we've blended all of those to basically provide like it's an execution, okay, level service where he's literally showing you exactly what he's doing. And this, more than anything, with these beacons and exactly what Blake is going to be talking about in the masterclass, the levels in the set, okay, is all distinguished Like that's the first thing he's talking about in the morning. By the way, Blake, I have been listening for quite a while. That's what he's talking about in the morning. He's like, okay, everybody, when we hit this level, okay, we are all going to do this. And you're talking about that though, quite a long time before the actual trade executes. You got all the time in the world. You're like, set your orders, on your
Yep.
marks, get set. Like there's all the time in the world. This is not like in out, in out. It's not like that. It's not like day trading where you're like hyper crazed and you can't even get up from the screen because you had too much coffee. You're like, forget going to the bathroom. Okay, kidney infection, here we come. It's not like that. Okay, for an intraday trade, it's one of the more hands-off trades. So on September 25th, okay, this is a one-time session. You're going to have lifetime replay access, right? So it's just a session that he's going to do. How many hours are you going to be? 2, 3, 4?
Usually about two. So
Okay, you're going to get it done in 2 because you never get anything done in two
I
hours.
never get done at anything in my time frame now.
All
Uh,
right, just
I think I did my first one ever that I ended on time. So you always have the choice to drop off and watch the recording, but yes, you will never get less than what as far as time goes. I will give you
yeah.
all the time you need.
Somebody's asking is a repeat from the first class. So this is like the first class, but when you do a class, like you kind of learn from the first time you do it. Like the second time, okay, that's gold, Jerry. That's gold. The third time, you pushed it too far. But the second time, I'm telling you, the second one run through is, at least for me, it's always that's the one that's like the most refined. You're like, look, it's about giving you information, but distilling it down. Okay, because there's complexity behind this that's going to be distilled down that anybody's going to understand. This is the level you get in. This is the level you get out. It's predefined. Let's roll. That's exactly what he's going to be covering in what is supposed to be a 2, possibly 3 hour class. Of course, it's recorded. Okay. The weekly mastermind. Okay. So the weekly mastermind, everybody always asks the question over here, like, how long does this go for? Okay. So it's going to kick off. Okay. How long does this go for? Do you just go into eternity? Are you going to do weekly masterminds for the rest of your entire life over here? It's basically what he does. So I say there's a weekly mastermind. Look, there's a private trading room where you get to bounce ideas off of him every single day, 5 days a week. So although I put and I stress into the weekly mastermind over here, and the weekly mastermind is definitive and dedicated education and updating education. Okay. To me, the big one here is the private trading room. Okay. Again, the weekly mastermind, it's phenomenal. It's a huge value. Okay. To me, everything's the private trading room. And the private trading room, it's because literally you get to go back and forth. I mean, Blake's like watching the chat room, like it's literally, by the way, the same chat room that we're in right now, right? So you're watching the chat room in real time. Somebody's like, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? But by the way, there's always one in the crowd that you're just like, that doesn't stop. It's okay. That's what he's there for. You'd be amazed in 60 minutes, okay, how much we can actually do while live in terms of Q&A, in terms of execution, okay? The first week or two in the room feels like a little bit of pandemonium for you, okay? It does. You're going to spend a week or two, okay? You're going to get your footing. And then after a week or two, you're the one who's actually asking questions. So what's kind of cool about this is there's already people in the room. We're going to limit the number of people that come into this room too. This is going to be totally limited because we can't have 1,000 people in the room. It's chaos, right? We're going to limit specifically today to 50 people, okay, in this room. And we're doing that because we already have clientele in the room. Clientele in the room, they already know the game. They're going to be able to help you. Blake's going to be able to help you. But after like a week or two, everybody is on the same level, okay? And the flow is awesome. Like this room more than any, as I said, this is not like pandemonium in terms of trading. It's not like chaos, like jump in, jump out. Okay. It's not that fast. Okay. Like look at Blake. He's not that quick. No.
And we've
But
actually had those comments that said, I
yeah,
love this because it's calm. I
it
can do
is.
all the things and it's calm.
For a futures trader, you are by far and away the most chill futures trader, okay, that I have ever met, bar none. I don't think I've ever said that before because like most futures traders, they're like snorting, all kinds of caffeine over here. They're more like me. Um, you are by far and away the most chill like futures trader, but having the levels beforehand helps. But again, I put a huge amount of weight into the private trading room because people left to their own devices deviate. You just like all of a sudden you're taking a right when you should have been taking a left. You're all over the place. You're in a trading room with everybody else. If there's 50, 100, 150 people in there, believe me, they're going to keep you on the straight and narrow. Okay. That's important. So this is obviously part of it. I put a huge amount of weight into it. When you think about like what you're paying for, yeah, there's a class that shows you how to do it. Yeah, there's updated kind of weekly coaching, that goes on in here in a mastermind format, but it's the trading room. Okay, this is where money is actually made. Okay, coaching
You
call, a
know, I
monthly
was going to really
coaching. Go ahead.
quickly tell you
Yeah,
my when we launched this, new product, and my wife was saying, so how does this fit into all the things you're doing already? And I said, so what I'm going to do is start every day at 9:30 a.m. forever. And
yeah,
it is 260, 265, 270 trading days a year. And
252 trading days a year,
yeah,
sir.
there you go. Thank you. 252 forever. And so that's been the ongoing joke now is that what time do you start your day? 9:30 a.m. forever. And
That's
it's
right.
because that's where I want to trade anyway. That's the trading window. That's the place to be. So anyway, I just thought it was kind of funny. It's on our ongoing joke. I'm there for you at 9:30 a.m. forever.
By the way, somebody was asking, are these strategies discussed in the regular members chat room? So we discuss the strategy in the chat rooms. Okay, we don't actually do the execution. The execution of this is strictly in this particular room. And that's important because there's a skill set behind it. And that's exactly why we're going through and doing a master class. We're doing, basically subsequent classes in here, the room and so forth. It's all part of it. So there's a monthly coaching call as well. The monthly coaching call is kind of cool. So this is obviously scheduled in advance. And like just goes through like, again, for me, like these monthly calls, at least when I view what you're doing, it's about accountability.
Hmm.
The accountability in there is like, let's go back. What worked? What didn't? Okay, where did people have problems? It's a performance review to keep Blake kind of on the straight and narrow for it. And again, one thing that's huge in here is okay, the sheer number of people we've had, not only that are in this system right now. That's important. They're in the system right now. So this is one of those things where I say, I don't take our word for it. Okay. Got a lot of clientele that are trading this with Blake now live. Like this is not a room that we're going to build. This is an ongoing one. This is something that's been done. Okay. He's got the results. Okay. We've got track record behind us, not just of Blake, but of clientele in there. So critically important. By the way, anybody that's been doing this is welcome to speak to that. Like, as I said, I started off with like, Shirley, who had some results, and a few other members in here, but there's quite a number of clientele that are heavily involved already in here. Okay. This is the 10% per month Futures 101 class. So is this one yours? Okay, is this
No,
Futures
that one's
101 yours?
yours.
Okay,
That
so
one's
yeah,
yours.
this is actually just understanding futures in general terms. This is just to acquaint you guys, like acquaint you with futures in general. Like some people have no idea what a futures contract happens to even be, what a tick value is, and this is just to get you on the page, okay, of exactly that. And that's important to us. Okay, is that look, you got to get on the same page of like what's a futures contract. I mean, originally when you first traded like a stock or something, you're like, what the hell I'm doing here? There's a bid, there's an offer. Okay, we're going to go through all that in the futures 101 class. I want you guys to understand something. No knowledge coming in here, okay, is fine. You don't have to even know, like, what a stock, an option, a futures contract happens to be. We find that people set barriers for themselves. I'm only ever going to trade stock. Why? You have more capital, more risk, okay, more rules in stock. Why would you just be involved in stock? If you're going to be involved in this business, okay, futures contracts over here, why not? I mean, that's the future is towards the futures contract, because it's about what? Less risk, more leverage. Okay. There's no restrictions on account sizes in here. You can have 500 bucks in your account, do whatever the hell you want. That's where this business is headed. Okay. All right. This is new. 10% per month. Okay. The gold accelerator. Accelerate me. Talk to me a little bit about this. Is it because currencies move gold? Okay. Or is there something unique about the gold market that it moves similarly for the beacon?
Well, it's kind of the funny thing is we will have times that where the euro will be selling off and gold will be rallying. And that really is counterintuitive if you think it's just the currencies driving the market. It is the global inflation expectation contrasted against whether it's the US dollar or the euro. And so we're really getting an opportunity to hedge out what is true dollar movement and not dollar movement, and what is inflation movement and inflation just to the US dollar versus global inflation. And it really allows us to have trades that sometimes go opposite each other and still can both be winning. And so it gives us the market that is arguably the most focused on market in this inflationary environment. And when we're cutting rates, it's going to let us get into those trades and benefit from that. Gold as a buy and hold, I think, is a fool's errand. It gives you opportunity to still hedge out risk, still trade, make money, and be successful.
By the way, somebody was asking again, the address was actually thrown into the chat, but it's theotrade.com/10, literally the number 10. And that is the 10% club. As you actually scroll through here, again, it'll reiterate there's a 30-day money back guarantee on there. Let me actually answer one of the questions in here. In fact, I'll even kind of probe Blake a little bit on this one. So somebody said, are the trades every day? Okay. So the answer to that is absolutely yes. The trades are every day.
Mhm.
Is there an average number of trades that you're actually doing in a day? Or are you happy saying like, that's it, I got one trade, like, let's pack it up. Let's pack it up. Let's go. Like
We do
what?
more off the
Yeah.
time window. So
Okay.
that 2 hour time window is what we're going to target. And we're averaging probably about 3 or 4 euro trades a day and 1 or 2 gold trades a day now. But yeah, we have had 0 euro trades, but it's like once a month, once every other month. But that's when we were looking for gold. That's when we are setting up the different setups. But yeah, we're only talking about 2, 3, 4 trades. But yeah, we can hit one and say, yep, that's fine with me. I got paid, I've got my numbers hit, and I'm just gonna call it for the day and not sit around for the next hour. I have no problem with that because we can hit those trades early on.
Cool. So like I like the addition of gold. So I've got a position on gold literally right now. And that's critical. So I actually want to answer a couple more questions in here. I'm going to be able to answer these probably even better than Blake, and because I was a little bit like more in tune with the brokerage side of the business over here. But there's questions, and somebody said, I thought currency trades had no commissions. They're included in the spread. Okay, this is not actually trading the currency itself. It's trading a currency futures contract. And the reason we select currency futures contracts is predominantly me. I absolutely unequivocally despise trading pure currencies. Currencies is a 100% internalization of order flow, meaning that your broker trades against you. In the futures marketplace, okay, raw capitalism, that trade is out there to be grabbed by anybody else. You would rather pay commissions on futures contracts. That comes from somebody that ran a major brokerage firm for the better part of 15 years. You do not want to trade just currency. Currency is the absolute wild west. If anything ever goes wrong, there's nobody to even turn to. In the futures market, do you know that you're clearing Chicago Mercantile Exchange, okay, that has the best, okay, clearing in the industry, bar none, right? I mean, that's the place you want to go. I am a strong advocate, okay, of the futures marketplace because of not only the technology that they utilize, okay, but because of the clearing side of the business. And when you're like, what does clearing have anything to do with it? Okay, it's who's taking the other side of your trade, people. And there's no payment on order flow, meaning that nobody's grabbing the trade and making money just because you traded. If anything is free in this world, okay, somebody's getting paid. It ain't you. Think about that. If anything's free out there, okay, somebody's getting paid. and it ain't you. So please be aware of that. Now, the other one that came in here, and Jeff was actually covering this too. Somebody was asking about pattern day trader rule. Okay, these have no pattern day trader rule. Okay, it's not about a brokerage firm. It's about who and what, okay, regulates the product. Something like Apple, the stock Apple, okay, that is FINRA and SEC. That would have day trader margin rule. This, okay, is a futures contract. The futures contract is under this distinct regulation of the NFA, National Futures Association, and the CFTC, Commodities and Futures Trading Commission. The NFA and the CFTC have no day trading margin rule. That is a ridiculous rule that came about, okay, after the internet bubble, okay, burst in 2000. Okay, they put on those rules. By the way, they're eventually going to get rid of the day trading margin rule. This product has no day trading margin rule. So there's no pattern day trader rule for this. Unequivocally, you can have $500 in your account. There's no account minimums as well. Now, everything you get, okay? Everything you get. So live masterclass, the weekly mastermind. By the way, the live masterclass, please be aware, it's coming, right? It's September 25th. So if there's some urgency here, that should be it. Okay, let's get you in. By the way, you can sign up right now. Tomorrow, you're in the private room already. You may not know exactly what's going on, but you're going to get into the gist of things before even going to the live masterclass. So, yeah, there is some urgency on that particular front. There's a weekly mastermind, the private trading room, which, as I said, you can access that private trading room literally tomorrow. The monthly coaching, the Futures 101, the Gold Accelerator. Okay. The entire value is over 12 grand, right? For a year, it's 1995. It includes everything that I just listed. Okay. Designed to give you 12 months of clarity control. Okay. There are limited seats. We are doing 50 seats. Why do we do that? Not only to create urgency to this, okay, but to keep the room at least like somewhat constrained. We don't just like people are like, you throw 1,000 people in there. You can't have chaos. Okay, we can't have chaos. There's one Blake. Blake can easily handle 100, 150 people. We already have a significant group in there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add another 50 in here right now. There's a 30-day money back guarantee. Okay, the one thing I want everybody to understand, somebody's like, come on, I'm plunking down like 2 grand, and there's, the only riskless trade you're going to get. Okay. The only riskless trade you're going to get is here at Theo Trade. For the next 30 days, it's completely riskless trade. Check it out for 30 days. Okay. Look, sometimes life gets in the way. I get it. You can get your 2 grand back, but put forth effort, trade with Blake. Okay. Make a couple bucks. I think you guys are going to find it worthwhile. And that's where, look, a system like this, okay, you got to prove it to you. You got to trade it with us. It's one of the reasons we do a 30-day money back guarantee. Okay. You're going to figure out real quick, okay, whether it's for you or not just the master class. You got to trade. Okay. You're going to have to trade through this. Okay. And as you actually trade through it, as I said, we have clientele that are already in there. Was it 44.9%? Assuming
Right.
off the
If you
top of
took
my head.
all, and those are just the trades I took. We had some of the 10% club get trades that I said, oh, that was one we saw it set up. So when you've learned this, you've picked up trades that I didn't. Today was a great example. If you picked up the trades that we set up today, you'd have made over $400. What did I catch? $70. Just because I was changing charts and doing other things. I missed a couple, but the people in the room caught them. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, somebody was actually asking about this, and I do appreciate somebody's asking, like, so do you teach enough that you're going to be able to do this themselves? And I'm just going to front run and say 100%. Okay. That's always the idea. It's always the idea is
I
like,
hate black box systems. I
yeah,
want you to know.
yeah. No, I actually, I agree with that. When somebody asked that, like, yeah, it's an indicator that Blake developed, but that's what the master class is doing. He's actually taking you through what it is. You don't want to leave stones like that unturned here. All right. So the next 12-hour beacon, it's going to fire tonight. Okay. That means if you wait, you're going to miss them. At least if you're enrolled today, you can actually see what that is going to be. It literally will come out to you what it's going to be. Okay. Watch it in the morning. You don't have to trade it the first time through. Watch it a few times through. Okay. If you wait, you're going to miss them. The system doesn't wait for anybody. People are going to do this. People are going to trade it. The market moves with or without you over here. 50 seats. We're limiting access. Okay. For 50 traders. Okay. It's about support inside of the trading room. You're going to get personal attention in the mastermind. Okay. It's not going to get diluted by noise. The one thing, like, again, especially with Blake, who's pretty mellow. Blake's an individual that just, he'll make sure every single question gets answered and so forth. Okay. Blake, more than anybody, kind of like you're a little bit protected, man. we
Protected.
Yeah, we use kind of kid gloves with you because when the room gets really, really big, when the room gets big, okay, Blake, like, we don't want to kill independent Blake. That's what it comes down to. So we are limiting it. Once we hit 50, we're closed. And we'll get close to that today. There's no question over here. The next beacon's building. So data is flowing, pressure is forming. Tonight, beacon's actually going to signal. It's going to fire, especially into it is the triple witching tomorrow. Trading window opens 10 a.m. You're going to be ready. You're going to be guessing out there. Okay. Another signal is missed. If people wait, another signal is missed. Another move passes you by. Okay. Another day of progress is going to kind of set you back. Spend the time. Okay. And again, like the juice here is worth the squeeze on this one. Okay. You've seen the trades, you've seen the system, you've seen the edge. Make your move. Okay. Enroll now. So before the next beacon fires off. So again, you'll start kind of the journey in this 10% per month club. Starting the journey obviously is enrolling right now, but the masterclass is going to kick off next week. There's an additional 50 seats that we're opening over here. Okay, there's one window, one decision. It's either $2,000 for the annual or $1,000 quarterly. That's completely up to you. Both of those, again, both of those will have with them a 30-day money back guarantee. So you get to save $2,000 if you go for the annual. Okay, get to basically 6 months for free in here. If you need us, call us. I know we've put the number out there. It's 623-244-5657. Again, 623-244-5657. There are certain people that, I get it. They don't like putting credit card numbers and so forth in online. That's fine. Okay. If you need us, call us. That's why we put that up there. theotrade.com/10. Okay. A little bit of Q&A. I've answered a lot of the questions in here. I'm going to make sure everybody's comfortable. Okay. A little bit of Q&A. You need a laptop. Okay. And an internet connection. We have everything. We have everything you're going to need to get started. That's always important. When I say, everything. Okay. All right, Blake, I'm going to ask you. Would you trade it
Yes.
off? Would you trade it off your phone, or would you say like use like an iPad? Can you trade it off your phone?
Well, you can. The ability to create on your phone is absolutely there, or a tablet or otherwise. But to get the charts when you're at some point, you're going to want to be running your own charts and be doing your own thing. But overall, yes, the execution of the trade, when you have your levels, as soon as you have the levels, the beacons are there and they fire, as John's just fires a bunch of trades off. As they do that, yeah, you can actually execute from a tablet, a phone, or other things if you know your numbers. And I send those numbers out. I send them out every evening. So you have them 12 hours in advance while you learn how to do it yourself. But there are some things that you'll want to probably do on a computer or laptop when you get into the details.
Yeah,
So
I don't want people to think they have to have some like ridiculous computer system. I
no,
just,
no, not at all.
I use a ridiculous computer system. I do. But I also
Yeah,
sit here all day, every day. And I have to tell you, of the 6 monitors I have, 3 of them are actually to run day-to-day ops of TheoTrade. Like I literally, I use 3 for trading monitors. I don't need the ridiculous computer. I sit in front of a laptop sometimes, especially when I travel. I sit in front of a laptop and I'm fine with that. They actually, I have one of those new, like it's a really, really thin monitor. They're only like $70 and you hook it up to your laptop.
yeah.
You can also use your iPad
Yep.
with your laptop too as a second monitor, which is kind of a cool program on that. By the way, a few names. As you guys were enrolling, I apologize for not reading these off earlier. As you were enrolling, we see your enrollments. It takes me about 7 minutes though before I see your enrollment. So I apologize for not reading these off earlier. But as you're enrolling, Stephanie E. from Tennessee, Nicholas D. from Connecticut, Paul M. from Ohio, um, Wendell from Texas, Howard T from Texas. That's just the first batch of names that have actually come through. And as you guys are enrolling, of course, we see it on our side. I'm just confirming for you. Thank you guys as you do enroll over here. Do I decide what trade or does Blake? Okay. So Blake's actually going to give you the levels. Blake is going to trade with you. And I'm actually giving you, because I've been in the room and watched him. Blake's giving you levels. Blake's actually getting into certain trades. Okay. You're welcome to trade with Blake. Okay. Blake, after, hour or so, will finally like leave the room. And then people just hang out in there and they're like, oh, Blake's levels. And they'll continue to trade and discuss those trades
Mhm.
throughout. So the answer to that is, yeah, Blake is actually executing. Okay. And when Blake is executing, you're seeing, like you just saw like trades go through on my screen a second ago. We will obviously share those trades exactly with you. But Blake's got his screen up. You're actually seeing the execution. Like it's not, hidden like secret squirrel stuff. It's no secret squirrel crap. Okay, we're out there. We're out there, Jerry, and we're loving it of it. Sam R from Florida, just saw you come through, and Vic L from Florida. A couple more names to read off. Next here on the Q&A, just to generalize, you can email us anytime, receive a response within 24 hours, including trade related questions. And I want to reiterate that, like, there's a lot of places you can't answer them. You can't ask, I should say, trade related questions. You're like, you can ask us anything except about a trade. You can ask us anything you want here. Most of us have experience on the brokerage side. Most of us have actually been licensed. I've carried basically every brokerage license imaginable over the years, and I'm thrilled not to have those anymore. But okay, we're very, very comfortable, okay, answering trade related questions. So variations of all the trades that we're going to do, you can do this in an IRA. Okay, we'll help you with the brokerage firm. Please, okay, stop with questions about the brokerage firm. That's part of the program. It's part of it. And the reason I say stop with questions about the brokerage firms, okay, it's a little bit unique to the individual. If you say, Don, I have an IRA, okay, and I want to do this in my IRA. I'm going to say, time out. I know where to go. Okay. You say, Don, I'm looking for a brokerage firm where I can be really, really active and I want the cheapest commissions. Stop right there. I got you. I know where to go. It depends. Like one size does not fit all. I hate when somebody's like, you have to go to this firm, you have to go to that firm. You know why they're saying you have to go to this firm or that firm? Because they're getting paid. Okay. I don't care. I don't care anymore. We don't, the whole marketing relationship. Look, I've got relationships with everybody in the brokerage world. Those that were executives at Thinkorswim, Blake knows this. Okay. One of our close friends, Mary Ryan, Mary runs E Trade. Okay. I cannot believe Mary runs E Trade. She was 18 years old,
Yeah.
literally graduating high school when I first met her. I was only like 24, 25. She was like 18 years old, graduating. Okay. South Side Chicago girl. Okay. Her sister actually traded on the floor. I knew her sister actually really, really well, traded on the floor. By the way, to be down on a trading floor, okay, in the 90s and early 2000s, and be a female, okay, you have to be absolutely vicious. Okay. And her sister, Katie, absolutely was. So, Mary Ryan actually runs a big portion of E Trade now. One of my closest friends, Steve Quirk, he runs Robinhood. I know there's a CEO of Robinhood, but his CEO just like dances and like, at shows and so forth. He ain't running the firm. Steve Quirk is. Then obviously Tasty, we know everybody there. We know everybody at Charles Schwab. You name a firm, like we know them all. We know them all. So I'm just going to give it to you. Like, look, don't worry about the brokerage firm. Get in the program, get comfortable with the program. We'll get you the brokerage firm that fits you. And you're welcome to email us and tell us a little bit about your situation, and we'll provide some guidance in there. Okay, to that. By the way, Lawrence R from Idaho, just seeing your enrollment code through here. So you can do this in an IRA. By the way, you don't even have to have $2,000 in the account. You can have less than that. You can have $500. Some of the futures firms, they don't even have a minimum. There's 50 spots available. Okay, get results, take action, enroll now. George C from California, just seeing your enrollment come through. All right, anything over here? Okay, there's a question that comes up a lot, and I almost like take offense at this, and I don't mean to, but people always talk about like win rates and loss rates. That in this business, okay, if anybody talks about win rate, loss rate, that that's not what the business is about. Who cares? I could have 20 losing trades and one absolutely massive winner, and it just throws that whole thing out the window. Okay. In the end, this business is about P&L, right? So it's wins and losses. Okay. That's not really what it is about. Blake's going to put you in the right positions. Okay. And you will absolutely have trades that don't make money and will take losses. Okay. You can't be in this business without that, but it's about time and it's about edge. And that's exactly what this beacon is going to do and these levels are going to do. That's what the trade setup. And I don't mean to be dismissive of anybody, but when you say like, oh, there's 60% winners, that doesn't mean anything to me. You could win 90% of the time and still lose money. And I want you to remember that. Like win rate and loss rate isn't even a thing in the entire brokerage world. It never has been. And I come from the professional trading arena turned into the brokerage firm. Like, I've worked on the market making side, I've worked on the brokerage side, and now I work on the retail side. So I've gotten to see all aspects of the business. And it's so weird because people talk about like how often you're right. And like I can't even tell you, like the first time somebody asked me that, I'm like, excuse me, the hell are you talking about? How often am I right? Okay. Who cares how often I'm right? Like that doesn't even make because like there's trades out there that literally you could be wrong 90% of the time and still make money. And that's why I'm like, I almost take offense to that. I
Yeah.
don't mean to, but that's like my natural, like I'm like, what are you talking about? By the way, Julie C from Canada. So just seeing your enrollment kind of come through here. Um, so somebody said, will you be trading other commodities besides gold? Are you going to do maybe oil? Okay.
Um, we'll
Yeah,
look at things. We look at things when they're right. We'll go through and explain what makes it work. But
I was
I'm not
curious
gonna.
about
Yeah,
oil because
yeah.
I'm not a fan of OPEC, man. Okay. When a cartel runs, when a cartel runs things, I get a little bit queasy, little bit queasy. And then there's OPEC, but now it's OPEC plus. Okay. Plus what? Plus Russia. So it's the
They
funny
they
thing.
put Russia in there to make you feel trust them more.
Yeah, absolutely. The funny thing about it, so you have this marketplace that's the euro dollar, which is basically the biggest marketplace out there. And then you added a little bit of gold, but I'll be very frank in saying you never even had to, I'm telling you, you never had to leave the euro dollar. Okay.
No,
You had me at euro dollar because there's enough trades in there. Like you don't have to necessarily have, okay, expandability. It'll work in the euro dollar. I'm just letting you guys know. Like I know that you want to trade this product, want to trade that product, but I'm actually kind of an advocate of like, keep it a little bit simple. Okay. Yeah. So by the way, somebody said I trade Roth IRA on TOS. Is it doable? Should be. Okay. I don't know how much is in your IRA, but so that's exactly the question is like, I have to know like, well, how much is in your IRA? This is Charles Schwab. It's no longer Think or Swim. It's Charles Schwab. Okay. Chucky. Chucky's got the keys right now. And with Chucky with the keys, it's quite variable. Anyway, I'm going to throw the page up there one more time. We'll stay in the room, answer a couple more questions. Again, this is theotrade.com, okay, /10. Theotrade.com /10. Blake, thanks for actually helping us out today. Thanks for coming
thank
in,
you.
kind of explaining a little bit about not only the Beacon, the 10% per month club, and I'll see a lot of you. September 25th. I'll actually hop in there a little bit while Blake is getting going on September 25th over there. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye bye.